Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Monday. I almost said I'm Zach. I'm Zach. This is Kimberly. Just kidding. I'm Kimberly. This is Zach, and we are your hosts today for the Daily Huddle.
We are. And first and foremost, we want to thank our veterans on Veterans Day. I know we've seen a lot of our Marine Corps friends wishing the Marine Corps a happy birthday yesterday on Facebook, and so we're excited and grateful for to say thank you and grateful for the ability to make some of the decisions that we're able to make because of what our veterans have done for us to secure those freedoms. So thank you immensely for your service. So today, what we're going to talk about is the question of the day that we put out was, what are you choosing? And that was intentionally somewhat vague. But I heard a quote, and I can't really say who I heard it from because I don't remember. There's a lot
Just say me.
of social media stuff that comes across your screen and then disappears. And quotes are a dime a dozen usually. They might motivate you or excite you, get you a little heart rate up for just a minute, but it's about what you do with those after that and how they move you. And this one kind of stuck with me because it's universal. And this woman said, "What you're not changing, you're choosing." And I thought about that for a second, and I thought, what does that mean? And then I applied it in multiple different aspects of life. And I really think that's an incredibly valuable quote, incredibly valuable thing to process. I know, and I don't want to talk about the election and those kind of things a lot, but I know that a lot of people felt out of control or felt in control, right? And in reality, we had no control other than our one vote that we could go and cast over the outcome of the election. And we still have ultimate control over what we do and how we allow ourselves to feel on a daily basis about life and about the day ahead. And I'm personally incredibly excited about what we have moving forward. We've got a lot of great things going on in our personal life with our kids, and I just want to focus on the things that we can control and move forward in that light. And so the things that we can choose, right, are a lot more than we think, or a lot more than we allow ourselves to believe. Um, it's another thing I saw a couple days ago. I told Kimberly was a Willie Nelson. I think we're probably all familiar with who Willie Nelson is. And some people ask, how is the guy still kicking? And he said in this video, he said, that's what people ask me all the time is how is old Willie still here? And he said, I just don't allow myself to have a negative thought. He said, I learned a long time ago that if I can't control it, I'm not going to worry about it because I can't do anything about it. And he said, negative thoughts release something into your body that makes you sick and just makes you feel bad. And he said, I'm just not going to have them. So anyway, I say all that to really kind of wrap everyone's head around the discussion of, what are you choosing? And we'll talk about real life examples of, decisions that we've made and decisions that we've seen other people make that were able to change their direction or their trajectory completely. And anybody that's here live with us that wants to share anything like that, whether it was a poor decision that was made or a good one that was made that you saw, that I would love to hear that here in just a few minutes. So, I mean, I think about it from the aspect of health. A lot of there's a lot of movements around right now on alcohol-free challenges and things like that to get people to just make a change in their life and do those kind of things differently. But I know that Kimberly's read some books also that she's used in some of our conversations. One of them was called, what I think we've even talked about it on here. I think Chase mentioned it too. Was Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
And it talks about changing, and you could probably speak more to what that about not being overwhelmed with the change,
Well, I
but
think,
yeah.
obviously this is I think it's an ever evolving conversation, right? That we all, especially as entrepreneurs and in leadership and in business and, with social media and all these people pouring into our brains all the time, is we're always thinking about what we should be doing differently, right? How do we change it? How do we fix it? What do we do? And I think, we're it's not the end of the year yet. We're not in January, but we're all being a little introspective about how this year has gone and, what did we do? And last January, I said I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. So January 1st, I'm setting those goals again. I'm setting those intentions again. But a lot of times we lose them. And I think it's because we try to change everything at once, right? We try to literally make so many changes because I'm going to stop eating carbs. And I'm going to drink 4 things of my water per day. And I'm going to work out every single morning. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to meditate. I'm only going to take cold showers. And I'm going to, sit down and have 20 minutes of journaling in the morning. And then I'm going to, do my business. I'm not opening my emails until noon. And like we put all these things, right, that we hear we should be doing, but we try to put them into action at once. And a couple of things from Atomic Habits. And if you haven't read it, you should get it. I sent it to my kids, and I was like, "Please read this." I know they won't, so I have to just keep telling them about it, right? But it's not a juicy, engaging, exciting book. It is psychology, right? And some of that is juicy and engaging and exciting, but some of it's science, right? And you're like, oh. But take it a chapter at a time, right? Read one chapter and process it and then go forward. But the information that you read in there, I think, is fantastic. It talks about again, back to the conversation, what you're not changing, you're choosing, right? So, how do you make those changes? And one of the things that he mentions is just get 1% better every day. Just do 1% better every single day instead of literally trying to make such a huge shift immediately. And if you do, and you're intentional about that just little extra effort, at the end of the year, you've made a significant progress and significant changes. Or choose one thing and make that a habit first. Okay, I'm going to drink my 4 things of water because I should, right? My skin will be better and I'll lose weight and I'll have a clearer head and la la la, right? So, okay, great. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to do that first before I add something else because that needs to become a habit. If we're choosing something that we want to change, we need to make a new habit, right? And a couple of other things that he says in there is, and you should really read the book because it's great, but, how do you change that habit? I can tell you right now that I have a really bad habit of 9 o'clock when everything's finally done, sitting down on the couch, turning on the television because I just want that moment to chill out. And that's fine. It's 9 o'clock at night, right? Like I can do that. But then I fall asleep there. And then I get up at like 12:30. I'm like, oh, why didn't I just go to bed? And the only way for me to change that habit is to not sit down and turn on television, right? And that's just changing that habit, making it a little harder. So I don't want to, eat chocolate anymore. Then if I don't buy chocolate, I don't eat chocolate. But if I put it in my cabinet, I'm going to eat it, right? So making things a little more difficult so we can choose what we want to change, right? Does that make sense? But so many different conversations, I think, from Atomic Habits and, how to change things and what that is.
It's I think about when we were teaching school, and I go way back to what 22 years ago now to
Way
this
back.
way back, and we basically had had ideas about being entrepreneurs from when we were in college, and we tried several different things that I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with. Um,
Amway, Rainbow
yeah, I mean,
Vacuums,
anything and everything to change our current financial situation, and that had all the promise in the world. And really, we had kind of settled in, I think, to our teaching careers. We graduated from college. We both had jobs teaching at the same school system, and we were content. We were not unhappy in our
Yeah.
jobs at all, and rewarded a lot in some of those areas. But the need for more money changed that with our second child, and I think we've talked about that several times on here. But, you know, we had a conversation about time, and we were both coaching sports, and we didn't have any room in our schedule, so it felt like to do anything different. So Kimberly started in this world that we're in now, the financial services world, when she was on maternity leave with our second daughter. And really, we had a struggle because when she went back to work, it was a difficult time because
My choices were different.
I was Mr. Mom. I was staying at home with the kids while Kimberly was out having meetings with clients, and she was adding more to our already busy schedule. And I didn't feel like that was, a good thing. I felt like we were kind of stuck, or I was stuck. And what that came down to, though, was that Kimberly made a decision to put in the effort and put in the extra time, and she had learned and seen that was a short-lived moment of extra work, extra stress to actually change the circumstances or the situation that we were in financially. And I think that was one of the things that she says to our people all the time, that success is a decision. And when you think about it's along the same lines as the quote that I started out the conversation with. But when you talk about your success being a decision, first of all, you got to decide what that success means, what that is. And we're all in a full on goal setting time in our business with our team, trying to get ahead of the holiday rush and all those kind of things. And I think that in order to identify what you might want to change or what you're actually choosing, first you might want to take a minute to put down on paper what you would like to have happen. Not necessarily what you'd like to change, but where would you like to be? What would you like to see happening in your business, in your personal life, in your spiritual life, whatever you want to see a change in, and you identify that first, and then you look and say, what can I change? Where can I find the time? What can I change to make those end results actually come to fruition? And I think that goal of not just, I want to, maybe it is, I want to feel better physically, maybe whatever it is.
Well, I think we all know there are things, right? And we probably know more now than ever because, again, of social media and people talking about it. Maybe it's just the people I follow, but we all know that there are things that we should be doing from a health perspective to make us feel better, right? But we don't do it because it's not convenient and it's not a habit and it's not something that we've created. So I.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about, if you are looking at setting goals to make those changes, um, make it personal, spend some time, write it down. And, we've talked about this before too. Write down where you want to be, when you want to be there, right? Write down a date, and then write your goals down in present tense as if it's already happened. And you got to go back and read those and remind yourself of those. That's going to help you make those changes. If you're trying to break free from your current set of habits, one of the big things that you have to do, and this is it's difficult sometimes because if you're surrounded by a group of people that are all doing the same thing or behaving the same way or acting, that's how you spend your free time, right? Um, you've got to change that circle. And sometimes that's really, really difficult. I know I've talked to my kids about this a lot, is that you look at the circle of people that you surround yourself with, and it's, our circles change a lot more when we're kids than they do when we're adults. We have a tendency to kind of get in with our cohorts at work or the people that we work with in our own business or whatever. And that, or in our case, the parents of the kids that our kids play soccer with. That's kind of been the forced envelope, right? But you have to sometimes change a lot or about your surroundings or your circumstance. So breaking free from what's keeping you in that rhythm. Set boundaries. Like Kimberly was talking about with the time going to bed. We actually have a TV on the wall in our bedroom, and we kind of talked a long time ago about not having that TV. And the first step really has been, it's just been unplugged. It's been unplugged for like 2 months. And so now I think I finally wrapped my head around the fact that I can just take it off the wall and patch the holes in the sheetrock and maybe hang a picture up there. But that was something that we had to do and change that habit. Now we got to just come up to bed sooner, right? Instead of laying in the bed with the TV on and Kimberly falling asleep there and me continuing to watch television. Now we just do it downstairs. So now it's about changing that habit a little bit more to come
I
upstairs.
think some other habits that, like, when I think back about our start of this career, which really, yes, we're in financial services, and yes, we help people put together their financial plans and set and reach the financial goals and all of that. But it is such a mindset shift, right? To be in this world, but also to be an entrepreneur and to be a business owner and all of that. And I really think that's more of what we do than managing money, because we have to do it consistently every single second of every single day. Is kind of reprogram our brains and our kids' brains and our team's brains. And that was the big thing way back when we started in this world, is we literally turned off the news. But we turned it off and said, I don't ever want to see it again. And I can't tell you to this day, unless I'm walking through somewhere, that I've ever, in the last 20, McKenna's 22, so 22 years, that I've sat down and turned on a news station. And it feels so free, right? Like, I know it sounds silly and I know it sounds careless, if you will, but when you can walk outside and hear the birds, they sound the same, whether you're here or in Iceland or in Europe or in, California or whatever, right? Like, you can enjoy those moments around you when you're not so clouded with the heaviness of the news. The problem now is social media. I don't have to watch the news because everybody spoon feeds it into my brain anytime I open my app, right? So it's a little harder to set that boundary. But I think that's kind of what we're talking about, right? What are the boundaries? Like, what can you set? What can you remove in order to move forward in life, to move forward in your goals, to create, back to Willie Nelson saying, I don't think about negative things, to keep your mind free, happy, pure, thinking, positive growth mindset. How do you do that?
Yeah, and I think,
And it has to be intentional.
and we've had conversations. I think it was actually Michelle that sent this in chat when we had this conversation last time about basically our civic duty to understand what's going on and to know what's, if you shut out the news in general. For me, it's about shutting it out intentionally for sections of time. I will give myself time to read, and I will read. I don't like to be inundated with that kind of negative energy because it really is a lot of negative energy. I don't care what news source you've got. So I definitely want to know what's going on, but I don't just want to hear problems. I want to talk about solutions. Setting those boundaries and then creating new habits. I've talked to people that have wanted to stop drinking alcohol. I'll go back to that one. And one of the things that they've said is that in order to stop doing something, anything that you habitually want to get rid of, you've got to replace it with a new habit. You've got to start something else at the same time, or you're just going to drift right back in that direction. So remembering you have the power to change, but also setting yourself up for success by not just saying, hey, I'm gonna, go home and at the same time every night, I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not gonna get a drink. That's not gonna help because you're gonna be sitting there and you're gonna be in that habitual space and you're gonna go right back into that zone. So you've got to actually create a new habit. So if you do that every day at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, then maybe join a 24-hour gym, and instead of sitting on the couch, go change that aspect. But anyway, set boundaries, create new habits, learn to say no. I mean, I think that's one of the things that my kids have kind of had a hard time with. They want to be involved in a lot of activities, and they end up getting overcommitted. And so we had a mentor one time that said, make fewer commitments and keep all of them. And that makes you a better person to work with. And
I think you should say that again and say that slowly, because that was one of the most powerful things that, not that I didn't know that, and because I feel like we keep all of our commitments,
we do our best to,
but we make so many commitments
yeah.
that it becomes stressful, right? Because, yeah, sure, I'll help you. Absolutely, we can do this. Yes,
Sure,
yes,
I'll be
yes,
on
yes.
that
And
parent
then you
board.
do
I'll
it
be on
all.
that. Yeah.
And then you have no time to do what you actually need to do because you just say yes too much, right? So definitely make fewer commitments, and obviously your word is your word. So if you make a commitment, keep it for sure, but make fewer commitments.
Yeah,
Say no more.
and don't be afraid to seek help from a mentor. Have a trusted group that you can talk to. A therapist if you need that kind of help to change your situation. I believe in the internal locus of control being incredibly important. Meaning you got to believe that you can change, and that you have control over your situation, versus the external, which means that the world is doing things to you, or you're reacting to what's going on around, and you have no control over that. That's a big thing I've worked with, a lot of people on, is just understanding that no,
Imagine being our kids.
no, don't say that. Don't say,
Do not whine. Stop.
this is, what's happening to me, or this is not fair, or that, yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't fair.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that have it a lot worse off than others. I very much subscribe to the mentality of that's not how you're going to improve the situation by sitting around and looking at the things that are coming at you. It's got to be, no, I can put myself in a different place. I don't have to be around these people. I don't have to have this negativity coming at me. I can turn off the news. I cannot talk to this group of people that act this way or behave this way. So, um, and the last part about actually taking action in these changes, obviously, we talked about identifying the changes and creating those new habits, is overcoming that fear of discomfort. I think a lot of times the reason that we don't change is because we're afraid of the unknown, right? If I do this, then, and a lot of times it's being accountable. So in business, I know if you, like, we have groups that we're a part of that are, a support network, but also an accountability network. And if you hang a goal out there, or you say you're going to do something, there's going to be a lot of people watching you. So sometimes it's easier, I think, for us to say, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to throw that out there, because then I might have to do it. So wrapping your head around the fact that in order to make a big change, you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's going to be new, and just know that you can control it, that you're in control. You can always turn right or left if you're going down a path that doesn't feel right. I think that's what Napoleon Hill said, was have a definite major purpose, and have a plan, and go immediately to work, go immediately in pursuit of that, because you can always change your plan if it's not getting you towards your purpose. I think that it feels like we've kind of been all over the place, but what I really wanted to get across is maybe that what's been going on in my head since I heard that little quote, that what you're not changing, you're choosing, realizing that literally every aspect of what we do on a daily basis, whether it be a toxic relationship that we want to get out of, whether it be a job that we'd rather not, that we're unhappy in. I'm not telling everybody to go, pack your stuff and move out or wherever you are right now, and unless that's something that you just need to do, or to go quit your job today if you need to pay your bills next month. But you can put things in motion to change those aspects of your life if you want to. And I think that's what I wanted to get across, is just, wherever you're sitting, at whatever table or in whatever car seat that you're driving in right now while you're listening to this, know that whatever you're looking at that you don't like, that you're upset about, and maybe you're in a great place and that's awesome. But know that you're in control. And you're certainly in control of how you respond. I get a lot of pushback when I talk about this. Well, I can't control some of the things that have happened in my life. Nope, you can't, but you can control how you respond to that. And that's tough. I know that it is, and I know that it's people have dealt with things that are a lot more difficult than what I've dealt with. So I don't say that lightly, but it won't get better focusing on the negative. So anyway, happy Monday, happy Veterans Day. Know that you're in charge of your own thoughts and your own emotions, and work step in that direction, to do that. So, and if you want to make a change, emotionally, relationally, financially, it's a choice, as Kimberly always says and reminds people all of the time. I think I hear it at least once a day, if not once a week. Success is a decision. So whatever your definition of success is, if you want to get there, you just have to decide to and put one foot in front of the other.
And I'll say, our mentor, Hubert Humphrey, we had a call last week and have it written down over here because I need to like post it in front of my face. But one of the things that he said was, and I don't know if it was a book, I can't remember where he got it, but doesn't really matter. But he said, ultimately, success, power, and wealth are indiscriminate. They don't care who owns them. They don't care. It doesn't matter, right? The people that literally put their head down, go to work, create habits, and don't quit, reach it, right? They reach their goals, they reach their dreams, they have success, they have power, they have wealth because they work for it. So it is indiscriminate. I think we need to remember that, and just remember that you know, what we aren't changing, we're choosing, which is sometimes fine, and sometimes you're like, dang,
Yeah.
that's painful, you know?
Entrepreneurship is what was it? It's a series of failures with an occasional success that pops out. And I thought that was pretty good too. The people that you see that are successful understand that failure is part of the process. They understand that failure is how we learn, and the key is that they just don't sit on that failure and stop. They go, oh, whoop, that didn't work. We're going to go in this direction. We're going to try again. So, we're so glad to be here on a Monday morning and
Do you
looking
guys
forward
have
to
anything you want to share? I know
Yeah.
we just keep yapping, but anybody have any stories or anything they want to share? Any inspirational messages for the day of what you're changing or choosing? We're all just perfect.
Well, if nobody else has anything to say, I want to wish everybody a blessed St. Martin's Day, the saint who reminds us the importance of sharing. So thank you for sharing of your wisdom. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I can't find the hi Jim.
I was gonna say one of the things that
No.
was coming up for me in this conversation was the choices that are unaware that I am unaware of that are choosing me. You know, like I make choices that I'm aware of every now and then, but mostly my life is driven by the choices I've made that I am unaware of that are still choosing me. And it's kind of how I'm putting together the opportunity of today's conversation for me. I let with the quote you were just mentioning from your mentor, success, power, and wealth are indiscriminate. And I'm wondering what are the choices that uses people that are successful. So that's what I'm taking away from today.
Well, I'm still very moved by the topic, and I think that if we can impress upon anybody that when you get up every day, you have choices to make, and they're going to determine the outcome of the day. They're going to determine how you feel about the day, and you give yourself the latitude to be in control of that. I think that's a major step in the right direction. So, I again, we'll as we check out today, we'll remind you to love, laugh out loud, stress less, realize you're in control.
Be like Willie.
That's right. Be like Willie. Eat things that are good for you. Take care of your body, right? Know what you're putting in there. Give of your time, give of your money, give of whatever you can. Get your rest, not on the couch. Go to bed when it's time, and move. Get your exercise in, and it changes mentally the way you look at things as well. And then finally, that gap between stimulus and response is yours. And remember, like I said earlier, how you respond to things is totally in your control. What comes at you might not be. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. And thank you for spending this Veterans Day with us and sharing, as Michelle said. And we will see you at the same time, same place tomorrow on the Daily Huddle.
Bye guys.